Hey guys, if you're enjoying the content that I'm making, please click that subscribe button. Also remember to click that bell button and make sure to tick that box to send all notifications so you don't miss out on any videos. With that in mind, let's get on with the video. What's up guys, welcome to Munchkins Gaming, where we take your gaming to the next level. This is Munchkins, logging in to bring you another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. And welcome to another Should You Pull video. In this video, we're going to be going through Kimahri'S event banner, whether you should be pulling for this video or not. Of course, I'm going to give you reasons why you should be pulling for this, and giving you reasons why you shouldn't be pulling for this, and of course giving you a lot of information regarding their EX Plus, and of course Kimahri is a new character as well, so we're going to be going through his abilities as well. So in this banner, you do get the chance to actually grab Kimahri'S EX 15 and his 35 CP weapon, alongside with Yuna's EX 15 and 35 CP weapon as well. And the third wheel for this banner is going to be Noel, and you can grab his 15 and his 35 CP. Now we do have quite a lot to go through, so let's start this video straight away. Now we'll start this video off with Yuna's EX weapon called the Mirage Rod. This gives her the EX ability called Grand Summon. There's a lot of text here, so there's a lot to go through. So basically, she is finally able to summon Valifor for 6 turns. This triggers the Energy Blast ability as well, basically doing a 10-hit AoE Magic Brave attack plus a single target HP attack. This moderately raises the Brave damage dealt to a single target. The Stolen Brave can actually overflow to 150% of her max Brave, and will also be dealing a 50% splash damage to non-targets. She will have the Valifor's Blessing for 6 turns. Now while Valifor is active, it turns the Grand Summon ability to Energy Blast. Basically, it's the same thing. This turns her Brave attack to Sonic Wings, and turns her HP attack to HP attack plus into Energy Ray. When Energy Blast is used, Valifor count is refreshed to 6 turns, and Valifor's Blessing basically gives her more max Brave and more attack, and as well as granting the entire party with a Brave regen. Now Sonic Wings has the following effects, basically raising the Brave based on her initial Brave, and will deal a 2-hit Magic Brave plus HP attack. And Energy Ray is basically raising her Brave based on her attack this time, and will deal a 2-hit AoE Magic Brave plus HP attack. And the Stolen Brave can overflow up to 150%, and the HP damage is equally divided. This has a slightly slow recast speed, and at 1 out of 3 limit break, this will slightly raise the Brave damage dealt by Grand Summon or Energy Blast. At 2 out of 3 when using Grand Summon or Energy Blast, this will slightly raise the max Brave overflow limit of the Stolen Brave. And finally, at 3 out of 3, this will slightly raise the recast speed of Grand Summon. Now let's talk about the EX Plus version of her weapon. At 0 out of 3 limit break, the Sonic Wing will turn to a plus variant, and this will increase the number of Brave hits to 4. This moderately raises the total Brave potency as well, and the Stolen Brave can overflow up to 120% of her max Brave, and this will raise the allies' Brave based on the HP damage dealt. At 1 out of 3 limit break, the Energy Ray will turn to the plus variant as well. This moderately raises the total Brave potency, and slightly raises the max Brave overflow limit. And at 2 out of 3 limit break, when using Grand Summon or Energy Blast, this will increase the total Brave potency again, and slightly raising the max Brave overflow limit, and will now also raise the allies' Brave based on the HP damage dealt. And finally, at 3 out of 3, this will slightly improve the max Brave up, attack up, and effects of Valifor's Blessing, and adds a party HP regen buff to its effects. And when these quests start, you will immediately have Valifor next to you, and you will already have Valifor's Blessing for 6 turns. And the bonus sphere that you are going to be getting for this is called HP Heal Brave Gain All. Basically, when your own HP is restored, it raises each party member's brave by 20% of their initial brave. Okay, so after talking about her EX and her EX Plus, how much should you be investing on Yuna? Now, I believe from the bottom of my heart, if you do plan to invest on Yuna, you have to go all the way. 3 out of 3. That's it. Without Valifor, she's just not a good character. She doesn't have much DPS. She does have some Brave Battery, but they're not very turn efficient as well. So, in all honesty, you really need Valifor for her to be quite effective, especially in Chaos Fight, because she's not very turn efficient when it comes to her Brave Battery, and it's unfortunate that her abilities are kind of stuck like that, but a lot of her problems are fixed with her EX Plus. This is including giving Brave Gain to the entire party with Valifor's Blessing, and of course if you do decide to use like Sonic Wings Plus, this now raises the ally's Brave based on the HP damage dealt. So it's not overall like she's not a Brave Battery anymore. She is slightly more towards a hybrid when it comes to support Brave Battery and DPS now, whereas before she was mainly focused on her support and didn't really bring any more than that. So I do believe, again, you have to go all the way if you do decide to invest on Yuna. Okay, so now let's talk about Kimahri's EX weapon. His EX weapon is called the Astral Sphere. This will give him the EX ability called Nova, which is a 3-hit AoE range Brave plus HP attack. This moderately raises the Brave damage dealt when there's only a single target, and will deal 100% splash damage to all enemies. This has a slightly slow recast speed. At 1 out of 3 limit break, this will slightly raise the Brave damage dealt with Nova. At 2 out of 3, this will inflict a Total Darkness debuff for 1 turn after using Nova. Total Darkness is basically a 100% blind effect. At 3 out of 3, this will slightly raise the recast speed of Nova. Now let's talk about his EX Plus weapon. At 0 out of 3 limit break, when using Nova now, the Stolen Brave can overflow up to 120% of his max Brave. At 1 out of 3 limit break, this will increase his max Brave and his attack. At 2 out of 3, when the quest starts, it will grant the Ronzo straight away for 6 turns, and it will automatically fill his EX gauge to max as well. At 3 out of 3, when you're using Nova, this will now increase the number of hits to 5 and will increase its total Brave potency and slightly raising its max Brave overflow limit as well. And the bonus sphere that you're gonna get here if you do decide to max him out is called Resist HP Up. This basically lowers the HP damage taken by 10%. Now let's talk about Kimahri's abilities with his passives. Of course, there's a lot to go through in this one, so I decided to just cut off the stuff from Dissidia DB and put it here, so it's all well set up for you guys to see the entirety of his abilities with his passives added accordingly. So let's start off with his first ability called Lancet, which is a range Brave plus HP attack. This will moderately restore the HP base on the HP damage dealt up to 20% of his max HP, and will also grant him the Ronzo's trait for 3 turns. Now Ronzo's trait, that's really hard to say. Basically, when he has Ronzo's trait on, this turns his Lancet ability to Lancet and Thrust Kick. It will now trigger another range Brave plus HP attack at the end, and his HP attack will turn to Jump, which is a range Brave plus HP attack, which also has a low action delay. Ronzo's trait has the following effects. It does raise his own max Brave and his attack, and raises the entire party's defense. Now, the extension for this, basically, when he's using Lancet or Lancet and Thrust Kick, the Stolen Brave can now overflow up to 120% of his max Brave, and slightly improving the effects of Ronzo's trait, and adds a medium defense up effect as well. Now when he's using Lancet now, it increases the number of brave hits by 1 and moderately raising the total brave potency. And when using Lancet and Thrust Kick, it increases the number of brave hits by 2 and of course increasing the total brave potency as well. Now when Ronso's trait is active, you will have access to his Brave Attack Plus, which increases the number of brave hits to 2 and of course increasing the brave potency. Now when he uses Jump, he will raise his Brave based on his attack before the hit, and the Stolen Brave can overflow up to 120%. And if you have his 15 CP passive, basically this will just raise the Brave potency of Lancet and Thrust Kick, and the HP recovery effect becomes party-wide instead of just himself. This also converts the excess HP that you recover to Brave, and it also improves the effects of Ronso's trait and extends its duration as well. Now let's take a look at his second ability called Mighty Guard. Mighty Guard raises the party's Brave based on his attack and will grant an HP damage reduction to the entire party for 3 turns. Now while Ronso's trait is active, Mighty Guard will turn into Mighty Guard and Bad Breath. This will trigger an AoE range Brave plus HP attack, and the HP damage dealt is going to be split among all enemies and it will inflict the Bad Breath debuff for 3 turns. Bad Breath has the following effects: it lowers the max Brave and attack of enemies and deals Brave damage every turn, so just like a poison debuff. Now if you do get to the extension with his crystal passive 60, when using Mighty Guard and Bad Breath, it's now increasing the number of brave hits to 2 and moderately increasing the total brave potency of Mighty Guard and Bad Breath, and the Stolen Brave can now overflow up to 150% of his max Brave. And if you get his 35 CP passive when using Mighty Guard or Mighty Guard and Bad Breath, this raises the Brave gain based on his attacks and improves the HP damage reduction and also extends its duration. And when using Mighty Guard and Bad Breath, this now increases the Brave potency, moderately raising the Brave damage dealt to a single target, and it also improves the effects of Bad Breath and extends its duration. Now, after hearing all that information, should you invest on Kimahri? Now, honestly, I feel like at 1 out of 3 limit break is the minimum amount that you really want to go through with this one. It's not that it's hard to actually get Ronso's trait at all, that buff. You only actually have to use 1 turn. However, it does help a little bit, so if you do want to maximize him at 2 out of 3 limit break, I think is enough. Just enough for him to be quite viable in the chaos fight. This does fill up his EX gauge to the max. You do have to remember that. So think of someone like Kryle and Y'shtola. At the start of the quest, you can immediately use their EX, and that is really nice because it is 100% splash damage. So that has something going for Kimahri. If you do decide to max him out at 3 out of 3, it just helps him do more damage. So if you're not capping, and obviously you do get more max Brave overflow limit at 3 out of 3 as well. So it just basically extra damage. If you do decide to, that is worth the investment, that's really up to you. However, in my opinion, at 2 out of 3 is the max that I'm willing to go for Kimahri. If I do even get his EX weapon, or if I even pull on this banner, because I'm really short on gems right now. Now, one thing that really confused me is when I actually started reading what Kimahri does, and I've been scratching my head as to what role Kimahri really has. According to Dissidia DB, which is my resource here, he is considered a range attacker, tank, and a debuffer as well. To me though, he tends to be in the fine line where, to me, he's sort of more of like a support tank, kind of like along the lines of Warrior of Light. Now, Warrior of Light prevents Brave damage. He doesn't prevent any HP damage, but Kimahri is sort of the reverse. He protects you from HP attacks rather than Brave attacks. So overall, I think he is kind of a niche character. and unfortunately that's where most tanks really fall into. If you do have someone like Bosch already, it tends to be like what Bosch already does, but Bosch just takes all the damage for himself and reduces that overall HP damage, whereas Kimahri, it's like it gives you all the HP reduction, and it's really up to your entire party to actually survive those HP attacks. So kind of a reverse Bosch, and that's where I'm at with Kimahri. Okay guys, we're finally towards the end of this video, so let me give you guys some reasons why you should be pulling for this banner, and the first one is if you need a healer or a tank. Now Kimahri fills that void. If you don't have a tank, he does not take all the damage to himself, unlike Bosch or any other characters that can actually provoke. Kimahri doesn't have any provoke. He does, however, have an HP reduction buff for everyone in the party, so he is considered some sort of a tank, support tank in my opinion. And you know, Yuna, unfortunately for Yuna, you do need to max her out, but she is a very good healer, and she can also dispel all the debuffs that you get. So she doesn't prevent that, but she can definitely take all of them away. The next one is you just need more characters for Dimensions, and in all honesty, this is one of the main reasons why you should be pulling for a couple of banners here and there. You don't really want to just pull for the most meta character at all times, because you are going to need a few more characters than just one or two characters in your team if you want to beat Dimensions End. And of course, the last one is if you're a big fan of these characters. If you're a big Final Fantasy X fan, this is probably going to fill that void where, you know, you really want to complete those Final Fantasy X EX weapons, and you want them all to be viable for Chaos. Now let me give you some reasons why you should not be pulling for this banner, and that is the first one: you don't need another healer or tank. If you already have like 3 or 4 healers, this banner is not really gonna be for you. Or if you already have like Warrior of Light, you have Bosch already, Kimahri doesn't really add anything to the meta. So if you already have those tanks, and if you have Ishtola, if you have Charlotta, if you have Rem, Yuna is not gonna really make a big difference to your entire party or collection of characters. She does have, and you do have to invest a lot on her as well, so that is the one big factor here, is if you're willing to actually invest on Yuna, you have to go all the way. The next one is you just want to save your resources for Emperor, and you know, if you're, like I said, if you already have a couple of tanks in your character collection, and if you have quite a lot of healers already and Brave Battery options, then this banner is probably not for you, and you just want to save for Emperor. And finally, you're just not a big fan of these characters. You don't like Final Fantasy X, and whenever you hear that ha 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 ha, it just makes you cringe, and just like how I actually cringed while doing that. Anyway guys, I think I'll end the video right here. I hope you guys like the new structure that I did here, where I put the should you invest towards the end of each character, and hopefully it will reduce the amount of time my videos have, and I've been trying really hard to reduce them down. My aim is somewhere around the 15-minute mark. Unfortunately, when there are new characters, such as for like this video, there are a lot of things to cover in terms of that new character, but for reworks and such, hopefully this will reduce the amount of time that you guys have to sit down and listen through my entire rant. And of course, all this information is in Dissidia DB. The only difference between Dissidia DB and you watching this video is actually hearing my opinions for all these characters that are being featured. So I just don't want to actually give you all this information and just leave it at that. I do want to give my opinions on this character, and that is the reason why, mainly the reason why you guys are actually here. So anyway guys, Please remember to click like and subscribe if you haven't already. It does help my channel to grow, and of course it does help with the YouTube algorithm if you do click that subscribe button and leave a like on this video. Leave that in the comments below whether you're going to be pulling for this banner. Are you a Kimahri fan or more of a Yuna fan? Let me know down in the comments below, and make sure to follow me on my social media. I am on Facebook and on Twitter. This is Munchkins logging off, and I'll see you guys in the next level.